ABC's Elizabeth Schulze for something of a reality check of these economic plans. As Selena just reported, Elizabeth, the vice president is proposing this $25,000 cash payment to help first-time homebuyers afford a house. Would this work, do you think, in making housing more affordable?
You know, and I think it says a lot, Phil, that there was such a big focus on housing and the fact that housing affordability is such a problem for not just first-time home buyers, but for a lot of people out in the market who are trying to buy or sell a home. This idea of a $25,000 down payment cash assistance, the campaign says that would affect 4 million people. When you talk to economists, they say that might not really be the best way to get at some of those housing affordability questions. Ultimately, does that just mean that housing prices go up if everyone who's trying to buy gets that money? Does it actually maybe give that cash to people who end up paying higher premiums down the line and insurance or other costs? What the part of the plan that is compelling to a lot of analysts who look at the housing market is this idea of building more supply. And that was something that the vice president put forward today. She wants to build 3 million new housing units. One way to do that is to offer a tax credit to home builders. That, Phil, would really get at more of this root problem of housing being too unaffordable for folks because, frankly, there just are not enough homes for the amount of buyers who are out there, which is one of the reasons why we've seen it be so competitive and why prices have stayed so high.
All right, so how about her plan to ban corporate price gouging at the grocery store? Everybody's been obviously complaining about the price of our food at the grocery store. We heard President Trump bash that proposal yesterday at a campaign event. Let's listen to that.
Now Kamala is reportedly proposing communist price controls. She wants price controls. And if they worked, I'd go along with it, too. But they don't work. They actually have the exact opposite impact and effect. But it leads to food shortages, rationing, hunger, dramatically more inflation.
All right, so that's both sides of the coin. Would an effort, do you think, by the federal government to cap rising grocery prices be effective?
And again, look, you understand why everyone's talking about this. The overall price of groceries since President Biden took office is up about 20%. And this is something you really feel when you think about the economy. You look at what you're paying when you check out at the grocery store and you say, this is more. This is a problem in my budget. When you ask economists, though, if price gouging is the main reason those prices are high, they say not really. They still point to some of those supply chain issues from the pandemic to the war in Ukraine, which raised commodity prices. That trickles down to the price that we pay for food. They say there have been other factors. Maybe some companies in select industries have kept prices high. So this effort to basically force the FTC to crack down on price gouging, what that would look like in order to be effective, analysts I talk to say would need to be really targeted. So really what that would kind of look like, Phil, is not that novel of an idea. Maybe you target big grocers who are thinking of merging. The FTC has actually already done that with a couple of companies. That might be the better way to get at this idea of companies over having too big of a market share. But how you would actually crack down on price gouging, the real issue there is more about supply and demand and not so much something, at least economists will say, a lot of economists will say, is up to the federal government.
And Elizabeth, what about this? She says she plans to cut taxes and there are credits involved. She's also said she'll do all of this while reducing the deficit, and that certainly sounds great. But is it a promise she can keep?
Okay, so I've got some new numbers for you on this because just a look today at the proposals that the vice president put forward is estimated to increase the federal deficit by $1.7 trillion. This is a nonpartisan analysis from the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget. They looked at all that was put out today and they said this is not going to be paid for. Now, that said, the vice president has proposed raising taxes on big corporations and on the wealthiest Americans. So once we get, hopefully, the details of what that would look like, maybe there is a little bit more of an offset there. And you can't really talk about the deficit, Phil, without talking about the impact of what little we know about former President Trump's economic policies. He's made a big pledge to extend those tax cuts. Just extending the Trump tax cuts, a key kind of issue of his 2017 legislative agenda, trying to do that again if he's elected again, that would increase the deficit by more than $4 trillion. So bottom line here, a lot of what the candidates are talking about on either side, not going to do anything when we're talking about reducing deficits and national debt.
All right, Elizabeth Schulze, thanks for checking all of that out for us, all the numbers.
Thanks.
Always good to talk to you.